welcome to AstroEnergy with Astrologer Angel Shelley Overton. Hello, and welcome to the August 21st, 2018 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm very happy that you're here joining me today. It is a kind of humid day here in Orlando, a little bit partly cloudy, and we're supposed to have rain later, but it's only going to be 90 today, so it's actually pretty tolerable. Hope it is more than tolerable where you are and that you're really enjoying the end of the summer. I'm looking forward to it becoming fall, let me tell you. And I don't normally feel that way, but this season I do. I'm just really ready for the humidity gone. Anyway, let's see what we have going on today. We've got a show about Virgo. So Virgo is my sun sign, and honestly, I've spent a good portion of my youth wanting to not be a Virgo. Virgo is a sign that, I guess at its worst, it's critical and analytical and finicky and persnickety and all the things that are probably not really positive, enjoyable words and phrases to describe people and behavior. And when I was younger, I was very sensitive, which I think we don't give Virgo enough credit for being a sensitive sign, but really it is. And I can tell you part of the reason the Virgos struggle is because they're so self-aware and they're so aware of others, and the energy that rules Virgo is Mercury. And Mercury energy is very much analytical and electrical based. Its nature is to be like of the air, and it goes to the air, and it really moves rapidly. And so what happens is Virgo is an earth sign. And of course, if we use electricity, if we utilize electricity, we have to ground it, because if we don't ground it, we can get shocked. And shocked is what we get when we're in our air energy for Mercury, which is Gemini. So it can be brilliance come through with amazing concepts and understanding and awareness, or in the earth energy of Virgo, and we ground it, we can utilize it and we can see the tangible physical world use of it. And so that's why Virgo is the rulership of electronic devices, because Virgo brings that electrical energy into the material world. Because remember, Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn are all earth signs, and that means they operate in the element of earth, and so they need to see the physical, tangible proof. So Virgo, getting back to my little story, when I was growing up, I would very much be aware of other people and extremely conscious of my own being. Like I could sense, and I never realized this until recently when I started getting more into metaphysical awareness. I mean, I've always been into metaphysics, but I've never meditated and really looked inward for something more per se. Like in the last 10 years, I've really pursued more the esoteric side of life, as opposed to the more of trying to just cope in a material world, which is probably why I had a huge stress going on through many years of my life, is that I was trying to be someone who was not esoteric. And that's really truly my nature, being Saturn in Pisces in the chart. So my life purpose was about being metaphysical or intuitive or keying into people, while my Virgo, and I have 4 planets in Virgo, and I'm using me as an example just because it's the Virgo time of the year, and I'm really kind of a good tool to help you understand Virgo. So growing up, I was always being extremely sensitive to people. And of course, people would say, "Oh, you're so sensitive. You're too sensitive." And for whatever situation, if my feelings got hurt, I would cry. And I definitely was a crier as a child. And so Virgo, while I do have other water signs and planets in my chart, um, the the Virgo side of me was so aware, and this is really the key to Virgo, is that they are mentally keyed in and very aware of other people and other people's criticism. And part of the reason that Virgo's sensitive to criticism is because they've already gone through the litany of faults. They are a perfectionistic sign. So that drives them towards getting the best of everything, and not getting in the sense of buying things, because they're very humble, probably very frugal sign by nature. Um, they they understand other people and analysis. So when they personally are analytical, and that's how, well, let's just put it this way, we see the world how we perceive the world. So we project out what we are onto our environment and onto the world around us. So, and I think a lot about this lately, because all of the signs of the zodiac have their purposes in this life. And definitely studying astrology and interacting with different signs, I've had prejudice for and against different signs because of how I get along with them. And a lot of people have attitudes. Some signs have big reputations, to borrow from Taylor. Virgo's big reputation is they're critical and finicky and perfectionistic. And then, say, Scorpio, oh, they're difficult or they're too intense. And, Gemini can be fickle or whatever, and that's not true with everyone. So I guess I just want to clarify that every sign has its thing, and every sign is here for a reason. So when we perceive our environment and we project out our own ideas, we are closing off a huge portion of other ideas that could be beneficial. And some of the people that express things that you may already have prejudices against, astrologically, they could be giving you things that you don't realize. And I mean, I'm personally definitely dealing with the difficulty of this particular aspect of Mars going back into Capricorn. And we'll get to that in a minute, because I know everyone I've been talking to, I don't think I know of a person who hasn't been going through a difficult time right now with the intensity of Capricorn. And today we have 4 planets in Capricorn. So the moon is in Capricorn today, right next to Saturn, and Mars at 28 Capricorn, and Pluto at 19 retrograde. So it's an intense time. So the earth signs, and Virgo as well, of course, are about the material world. And that means that we are coming into a time, okay, today we only have 2 planets in Leo. One is going into Virgo on the 23rd. That's the sun. And Mercury at 11 Leo will take about 20 days roughly to get into Virgo, because it's about a degree a day with Mercury. He just went direct this past weekend. So we are now in Mercury direct. Everybody, huzzah. So Virgo energy is about service, it's about analysis, and it's really a good sign to bring understanding of concepts into the material physical world. So they are really good teachers, and being able to bring more complex ideas into simpler expressions so that people who are not at that level can understand and integrate those concepts in a more basic sense. And so it's the sign of the teacher. It is the sign of office workers, administrative workers, people of service, and that can also mean food industry, or probably more likely waiters and wait staff, because they are of service. They are really good at hospitality and hostessing. They're good at human resources. They're good at research, and especially good if they have other planets in Scorpio. Research is kind of their jam. And they're really good with hospitals. And it's interesting because a lot of people don't like hospitals, but I find myself when I go to a hospital or a library, I feel pretty at home. I don't feel like it's a gross or creepy or scary place, because to me it's about service and helping people. And yeah, I think the equipment, things like that, can be very sterile, and that's probably also something that might be associated with a Virgo. I'm very fortunate. I have Venus and Leo, and so I don't have quite as much of that chilled attitude, but I can tell you when planets go into Virgo, and if you've listened to any of my shows regularly, there are days when I come across probably more cold and analytical than others. And as a Virgo, I'm very self-aware of that. So anyway, so Virgo's ruled by Mercury, and that means that they can be very chatty because Mercury rules communication. And welcome back. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I want to thank you for sticking with me. I actually think I may have had the mic on mute. I hope that's not true. But we will find out here in a second. If you are interested in getting a private reading from me, you can get me at astrologerangel.com or angeliczodiac.com, which is the sister site. So anyway, that's all. And let's take our first caller. Hi, 651. How are you?
Hi, Shelley. This is Linda in Minnesota.
Hi,
the
Linda
last
in Minnesota.
thing we heard was Mercury rules communication, and it went dead.
Of course. Well, what happened was I think I muted it to clear my throat and somehow did not unmute it. So, yeah, I looked down as I went to break going, are you kidding me? I've been on mute for like 10 minutes. Did you hear some of it?
The last thing I heard was Mercury rules communication.
That's ironic. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot going on, but we'll probably touch on that. It really drives me nuts when Mercury issues come up, and I good stuff that I had aired, but wasn't aired. That's well.
It was a good 10 minutes, but it was a good 10 minutes, if not longer. But like I said, the last thing I heard was Mercury rules communication, and it went silent, and I went to my other line and I go, okay, it's not me, because I didn't want to lose my place in line, because I really want you to tell me what's going on for me.
Yeah. So do tell me. Let's just get into our call. It'll be okay. So what's going on with you, Linda?
Really at odds. I'm kind of this morning. I mean, I feel like I'm in an okay mood and everything, but I'm also kind of like WTF. It's like, what is going on? It's nothing feels the same.
Let me ask you this: what is different when you say nothing feels the same? What does it feel like to you?
Well, it's like just being out of sorts. It's kind of like not knowing where the pieces fit anymore.
Yeah. So what you didn't hear was probably, I'm guessing, you didn't hear any of the Capricorn stuff?
No.
Okay. So Capricorn is very literal. And Saturn in Capricorn, Saturn can rule karma, but Capricorn itself is literal, and it's very material, and it doesn't bend. It's the pillar that holds the bridge up, okay? And the water comes and goes and comes and it stays the same. That's the force we're fighting right now. But Pluto in almost 20 degrees Capricorn is right now, it's retrograde in the middle degrees of Capricorn, which is the stable part of it, the fixed part of the sign. And then when it goes direct, which is September 6th, it will work its way back to the 20 degrees and beyond, which is the part that actually is more change. The last 10 degrees of a sign is the mutable section where we start getting ready for the next energy coming in. And so what happened is Mars retrograded back into Capricorn, and that's the structure, it's the pillar, it's the stability, but it was already here, and now it's back, and it wants to make the change, and asking us to look harder at those structures that we are so enmeshed in that we don't really fit anymore. And Pluto is digging deep in the psychology, and for you that falls in your 12th house. It's like this is digging up the darkest closet in your attic, or like, if we have closets in the attic, but like that's kind of what it is. Like we're going to go to the faraway place that's got all the secrets and all the deep, ugly things that we don't ever want to look at, and we just threw it up there because we don't want to look at it. Guess what? Pluto and Capricorn is saying, you got to look at it. And Mars back there in Capricorn is making that happen. And it wants us to make a change. It wants to clear our attics out and our closets and all of the cobwebs and get rid of stuff. That's part of what Capricorn does. It's a cleaning energy. It's an organizer. And so what we haven't looked at karmically is kind of smacking us in the face right now, emphasis on the smack. And it's like, why? And so the other part of it is, you said it doesn't feel the same. I definitely feel that in my life. I feel that, and this is part of the Capricorn energy and also the shift that we're all collectively feeling as Aquarius becomes the common energy, with Mars about to go back in. Pluto in 2024 goes back into Aquarius. Saturn joins Pluto before it goes and really hits home with that major energy that we're going to feel in January 2020. Is a major shift for everyone. It is life-changing, major structural, organizational, governmental shift. This is around men, authority figures, ownership of behavior. And the thing is that's really difficult is that we have a mentality of blame when it comes to responsibility, and I put that in quotes, because for us, responsibility means I can tell you what you should be doing, and you're not being responsible because you're not doing what I see you should do. What responsibility is you say that this doesn't work for me anymore, so I'm going to change because I'm miserable and I'm suffering. And so I'm owning that this happened, but in the ownership, you decide whether you can live with changing yourself to be like you think everybody wants, or if you have to be who you are, and in being who you are, you're saying, I own that I cannot fit that mold. And so once you say, I own that I cannot fit what you think I should be, you've taken responsibility for yourself. And so it's about ownership. It's really, and this is the thing that people don't get a lot, is that it isn't about society says that this is the prescribed path, and if you don't take that path, then you're a bad person. It is about, I don't fit in that path. And when I acknowledge I don't fit in that path, then I've owned who I am, and nobody can make me do something anymore because I said, this is who I am, good or bad. Even if there are bad consequences, I cannot be anything other than I am. And in doing that, that makes everything shift around you, because I'm a big believer in your environment reflecting yourself. So when you make that shift to owning who you are, good or bad, then it shifts what's around you. And this is the energy we're really dealing with right now in seeing all the, this is actually kind of better than what you didn't hear, because it goes more into the psychology of what we have to change. And that is, we are having to recognize that society no longer works, our lives no longer work with the finger-pointing mentality, that we can't just say, you're a bad person, you're doing it wrong. We have to actually engage in our lives, and we have to engage in the parts of our lives that we didn't like to look at. So when we do that, and this is part of my own personal process today even, is like, okay, this keeps happening to me over and over and over. Old saying, if everything stays the same, nothing, well, you know, it's like you do what you always have done, you'll get what you've always gotten. So at some point, we have to shift. But the question is, are we going to shift to be in integrity or out of integrity? Because when we shift to please others, we're out of integrity, even if it may be the way that they think we should do it. And, you know, like from their perspective, it's always like, well, if just be this person, then everything will be fine. Why can't you just do that? And the reason you're not doing it, and very pointedly, very clearly right now, coming up in your face, you're having to see that you can't do it because it's not who you are. So when you apply that to your life, you can finally say, you know what, I'm suffering because of the situation, because I've tried and tried and tried to make something that isn't working work, and I give up or I'm letting it go. That's what Pluto wants you to do. Pluto wants you to acknowledge that it doesn't necessarily work for you and you have to change, but you don't have to change to be the person that someone else wants you to be. You have to own the person you are, and that's what makes it significant in your life and a significant shift for your future with Pluto. Okay?
So, yeah, I think that's what it is. It's coming to a place of, you know, it's like, who am I anyway?
Right. Yeah, and Mars specifically, your chart, Mars was in your first house in Aquarius, and you probably felt because not only is Aquarius a really more optimistic, embracing energy, but it's your first house and it's your sense of self. And Mars was helping you have drive and action towards your own personal interests.
Right.
And then it went retrograde into your 12th again and went back into Capricorn again. And then that's the psychological subliminal structure of your mind. This is where you specifically for your chart, Capricorn and your parents live in your subconscious. This is what you've been dealing with, whatever dynamic you've been fed for all your life about how the world works and who you should be in this world is sitting right in your 12th house in your subconscious. And that's what Saturn isn't there in your 11th house, which is actually the Aquarius house. Saturn's going there in Capricorn, but the natural ruler of that house is Aquarius. So you've got some changes, which is actually kind of beneficial as far as where the Capricorn planets are in a chart. Having them in the 11th house is really good, because then you get a little taste of what the future is, because you already have a certain amount of eccentricity, openness to other things, and seeking out information, which the 11th house / Aquarius / Uranus love to seek out new information. They're always seeking out truth and trying to get to the bottom of things and understand complex reasoning, and really great energy for you for Saturn. But the 12th house, which is actually ruled by Neptune, and that dreamy quality for you, you've got that very pragmatic side to you in that house. So that's the stubborn sign that says, well, that kind of thing isn't real. I mean, I don't know that you particularly believe that, because you're calling an astrologer. So you probably believe that there is more to things. Pardon me?
I'm very, very sensitive to the metaphysical, to the unseen, because I live without eyesight, without physical eyesight. So I'm very sensitive and very grateful, actually, for the sensitivity that I have to the spiritual realms and the metaphysical realms.
Wow.
It's the physical I have difficulty living in.
Well, it's interesting that you said, I know we've talked before, and I think you mentioned that you live without eyesight. And my son has a 1-degree Aquarius rising. You have a 2-degree Aquarius rising. And he also has optical issues. He has the what they called lazy eye, but it's actually the nerve. The nerve doesn't translate the information, so it's not getting through properly. And it's the same thing. And I've noticed that Aquarius seems to rule vision issues, which is really interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yeah, and you also have Uranus in the house of health, so that might also be a secondary influence towards that particular situation.
Oh.
Yeah, but having Mars in your 12th house, that's the frustrating point, and it's just past your North Node. When it goes direct in a week, it's going to get better within a week. So I would give it 2 weeks. And, the moon in the next couple of days is going to be in Capricorn. So, when it gets to, let me see, today's the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, so late 23rd. Let me look it up for you real quick. And then when the moon gets into Aquarius, pay attention. I'm going to give you the time. Right? Which time zone are you in? Central. Okay, so in Eastern, it's 12:56 p.m. So for you, it would be 11:56 a.m. on the 23rd, which is Thursday. And just after lunch time, see how you feel. If you feel a little bit less stressed at that point, because the moon will be in your first
Aquarius
house.
Then?
Yeah, that's the time it moves into Aquarius. So this particular section of the sky right now, that late degree Capricorn, early degree Aquarius, is really significant. That Mars has been power hitting that point for a couple months. So it's just, it went over the degree, it went into Aquarius, which is a major shift, and then it retrograded and then went back, and then it's going to go again. And it's all within 2 months. So it's been a really intense time for people born the guy I was mentioning who works for a friend, which nobody heard, my friend whose restaurant, she owns a restaurant, and her employee was born right at that cusp. And it's like, he's going through this wacky time. Just trust it. It's a retrograde motion of Mars, which means men are pulling back. Men and the drive that we have within career, anything that has to do with authority, government, corporate America, leaders, any authority figure, and the shift to a new way of looking at authority figures is being affected right now. And that, for you, affects how you think of yourself as an authority figure within your own life. Because your subconscious, in some ways, you've always felt the responsible one, but in your first house, your personality, you're like, I want to be free. I don't want to be this person who always has to have everybody, like the responsibilities on me somehow. So that's coming, though. It's on its way. You're going to feel a lot freer as Mars gets into the first house, the moon gets into the first house. That's going to be a start, okay? You're going to have another shift in January of 2020. Like I said, that's the major Saturn-Pluto conjunction. And so that's going to be a big shift around your ideology and how you see yourself, like internally, how your inner life goes. And then when Saturn gets into Aquarius, which, let me see if I've got that here. No, I don't have easy access. Oh, yeah, I do. Here's a book. Hang on a second. I'll tell you when Saturn gets into Aquarius. That'll be a major, major shift for you. And you'll be like, the universe at that point will be telling you, you need to own who you are and yourself and your life and not worry. It's 2020, March 2020. Literally.
Wait, that's when Saturn goes into Aquarius?
Yeah. March 22nd. It's when it first goes in. It may retrograde back into Capricorn, but it does get into Aquarius March 22nd, 2020. So it's a really significant time for you to kind of start owning your drive and your direction on what you see. And also your channeled information that comes to you. Like you just know things. It's claircognizance. So there's a lot of that. Yeah, that's going to just go seriously off the hook for you. And remember, Uranus is also retrograde right now, which rules your rising sign. And so that's significant as well. So October 1st is another good day for you because your rising sign ruler goes direct. So it won't feel quite as difficult either.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, 2 months for that. But yeah, September's going to be better. Saturn goes direct. Mars moves back into Aquarius. It's going to be much better. Early, the whole month of September, it's just going to build. Okay, and later this year, I've said it since January 1st, later this year is going to be better than the middle of this year. And when I said it in January, little did I know this would be just as hard as it is, but it's super, super hard. So, yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, you can do it. Just meditate and have faith in yourself. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. A lot of it is just waiting for things to pass and move forward. So, yeah, Mars.
Okay.
Mars.
Thank you so much.
1 week.
Yeah.
Okay. You take care. Bye,
right.
Linda.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's take another caller. Hello, is this Kay?
Hey, Shelley.
Hello.
I'm glad you got back on.
Hi, yeah, what's
Kay.
up? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. That was my fault. It was actually my fault. I had it on mute, but I didn't get it off somehow. Anyway.
Oh, no worries. I know how blogs have to be, so I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, oh, good. So what can I do for you today?
I actually just wanted to check out some dates to do a shoot. I have like a little window of time, and I wanted to see what the best day was.
Okay.
The dates would be between September 13th and through the 17th. So
13th
one of those
through the
days.
17th. Just one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to be in Detroit, if that matters.
Well, it may only matter for the moon, and I don't know. It's probably going to be so specific. You said 13th through the 17th?
Yeah.
Okay. The best time would be 16th and late the 15th. Let me see about the 15th. I'm going by the moon, if you're wondering, because the moon goes into Sagittarius, which is your first house, and on your Neptune. And I'm assuming this is your, you said you're filming? You have a filming shoot?
Yeah, so it would be like me basically asking questions to yogis. So.
Well, yeah,
I thought
definitely
my Mercury is going to be on my Saturn, so I was like, uh-oh, is that a bad time? Like,
no, it actually means that Mercury is communicating through career. You know, like the career and how you communicate your vision in your career. As long as it's direct, it's fine. I mean, remember, for how I look at it is Saturn is your life purpose. When the planets transit, like if Saturn were on your natal Mercury, that wouldn't be as good. But Mercury on your Saturn means that it's giving voice to your career. Okay?
Oh, groovy.
And it's also in your ninth house, which is the spirituality house. So if you're asking questions of a yogi, it's also Sagittarius is very physical. So you know, yogis. I'm assuming he's the head of he does yoga, right? That's what a yogi does. He's the head of the yoga thing.
Yeah.
The yoga. Yep. Okay. So having Mercury in the ninth house, it is about that physicality and spirituality. So that's good. And then the moon. While it will be, I mean, the moon in Sagittarius can square Mercury, but it's on your Neptune. So I would say Sunday or Monday would be best. And let me just look for sure on it. Yeah, Sunday, I know Sunday is kind of not necessarily a day of the week to work. Yeah, it's a Sunday. But let me see. The moon enters Capricorn early in the morning on Monday. So that's also in your first house, but it's not on your Neptune. So having the moon on your Neptune Sunday. So
you say the moon on the Neptune is good.
Yeah, moon on your Neptune Sunday.
Okay.
So all right.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much. And do you see like positivity with the work stuff? Because it's been. I feel better today, but it has been, oh, my God. I don't know if it's because of the 8th house, all the 8th house action, but, I mean, a lull and just the brakes on everything and just very depressed.
No, for you, it's the second house, the first and the second house. You have Saturn, Moon, and Pluto in your first, and Mars is in your second. And Mars in the second house, of course, is couples and, like I said, the actual physical coupling of people, and then also money. So Mars retrograde in Capricorn is like your money just dried up on some level, like that. But it's about to, like I said, in a week, it'll go direct and it'll go back into Aquarius. So it'll be in Aquarius by then. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for you. Okay?
Thank you so much, Shelley.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Good luck to you. Let us know how it goes. Okay?
You too.
Right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're welcome. And I want to say I'm sorry I can't get to any more callers. I see I have a couple late callers, and any other day I would take you even after the show ends, but today I have to be somewhere, so I apologize, but please do call in early next week and we will get to your calls. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com.